The good, the bad, and the really ugly about quitting my job to become a full-time blogger about a year ago, a year and 4 days ago. Hello, my name is Zulie Rain. I create videos about how to grow your blogging empire. This video is about quitting my job to be a full-time blogger, quit my job for my blog, if you'll allow the almost rhyme. And furthermore, Sebastian, I quit. I get a lot of questions about that. I wanted to give a nuanced perspective of what my life has been like in the year since I quit my job for my blog. Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a real trip. Stick to the end if you want to see the bloopers. I want to start with the good. And I'm gonna start with a slightly controversial opinion that nobody ever wants to hear from writers for some weird reason. I make a lot of money blogging. I love it. It's good to make money doing what I love. I cannot state that enough. For some reason, a lot of people get really het up when I talk about my money, when I talk about how much money I earn, and when I talk about how great it is to earn money by writing. A lot of people think that I should somehow be apologetic for it, or that, you know, I should make less, just be in writing for the passion of it. Don't get me wrong, if you want to make money writing, you have to freaking love it. But also, like anything, it's really nice to have money, to live in this society with dollars in my bank account. It's great. The second thing about my life that has changed is time, in kind of two ways. A, I have a lot more of it. I was balancing a 9-to-5 while also trying to build this whole career, and it was really hard. I didn't have a lot of free time. It only really worked because there was a pandemic. I was in lockdown all the time. I didn't do anything but work because that's all I had. Sad face. Whereas now, living in my new house with my partner, doing what I love, I have a lot more free time to hang out with my cats, play video games, read books, embroider. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm very proud of it, so I framed this little embroidery piece and hung it up. Call my mom, go for walks, go for runs. I do whatever I want. The second sort of time aspect is that I have a lot more control over my time. Back when I worked a 9-to-5, I often felt guilty. I still did it, but I felt guilty about not working my full 8 hours a day. I would, you know, get my work done at like 2 p.m. and I'd be like, well, do I still have to pretend to be online on Slack? And I always felt like I did. I always had to be checking emails, pretending to work. Well, you know, secretly I was working on my blog or whatever. Whereas now, if I finish at 2, if I finish at 11, I'm like, okay, done for the day. Let's go do something fun. I love my work and I love my job, but you know what I really love even more than that? Not working, not doing my job. I love to hang out and have fun and not work. And it's really great that my job allows me to do that I don't feel guilty about not working because I'm in total control. That brings me to step 3, control. I control how I spend my time. I control how I spend my money. I control what I do, why I do it, the whole underlying reason that I'm doing it. Like when I was working at my old job, I felt a real lack of control. I was doing things because somebody told me to. I was bad at my job and I didn't really want to get better because I didn't have an incentive to. I didn't want to get better at sales because what would I do? Sell more stuff for a company that I kind of liked, but you know, was really only employing me because I could make them more money, not because they like me as an individual or anything. So I have such creative freedom and control over my projects, over my time, over my money, over how I want to develop as a person. When I spend time trying to improve on things like SEO, Pinterest, writing, I'm not doing it because somebody told me. I'm not doing it to make more money for anybody other than myself. That amount of control feels incredible. I love it. Fourth, self-development and self-belief. Back when I was working my full-time job, I was really bad at sales. I'll just say it like that. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't want to get better at selling. The whole thing was very uncomfortable to me. I did not care for that entire aspect of things. And as a result, I suffered from really bad self-esteem because I was bad at my job. I knew I was bad at my job, and all of my efforts were dedicated to stopping other people from figuring that out rather than like actually trying to get better because again, I had no incentive other than the crippling self-doubt I felt. And I was constantly wondering, like, do I really suck at sales, or is this imposter syndrome? Am I worse than everybody else, or is that just in my head? Viewer, it was not in my head. I really was worse than everybody else. I cannot say this enough. I was so bad at sales for this particular company. But when I started working for myself, all of those problems, they didn't vanish overnight, but they got much more manageable because suddenly I had to stand up for myself. I had to believe in myself. I had to fight for what I wanted, and I had to know that I was worth that effort and that time and that money and everything else I've put into this career. Because if not, what's the point? I could go back to any other corporate job and just like put in the time, put in the hours, work for somebody else. But because I want to do this, I am forced to believe in myself and my powers as a person. Before, I, would spend a lot of time pretending to work, not really working, hiding from my boss. Can't really do that now, can I?
Has anyone seen Zuli?
Because, I am my own boss. I have a lot more self-belief now because I kind of have to. That forced self-improvement was really, really good for my mental health. I'm a more complete, happier person now than I was when I worked for somebody else. And 5, further on the personal development theme, I know how to do a lot of things that I never thought I'd learn how to do. Back when I was working in sales, I did not want to improve because I was still kind of battling the belief. I was like, maybe I am really good at sales, and I just don't realize it. I was really bad at sales. Whereas now, I know how to create article templates in Canva. I know how to create YouTube thumbnails, although I now outsource that to somebody else. I learned how to edit videos. I know how to write so much better. I've learned the basics of SEO. I've done so much that I never thought I could do. I've learned how to freaking sell stuff. My nemesis, sales, is now something I love doing because I believe in it and myself, and I know how to do it right. That growth has been so good. Like, I'm challenged every single day in good ways and bad ways, which we'll get into later. I frankly love to grow and learn new skills whenever I want to, whenever I feel like it, whenever I believe it's worth it. Next on the list, learning how to do accounting, but that's later on. So that's the great stuff. Yeah, basically boils down to like, I've got more money, I've got more time, I've got more control over my life. I have a way stronger sense of self-belief and confidence in myself. And I have learned so much new stuff that makes me a better person and a better creator. Love all that. Now onto the bad/ugly parts of being extremely online. Number 1. So I've mentioned this in a lot of videos, so it shouldn't come as a surprise, but I am so thin-skinned. I hate getting criticism if you hold me up to the light, I'm translucent. It doesn't even have to be like nasty. It can just be, one time a commenter told me that I should really work on my natural eyebrow look, and I took that to heart. I was thinking about that for days. I struggle a lot with criticism to the point where even though I have a vastly positive YouTube audience, I have a really positive Medium and blogging community who mostly leave really nice, uplifting comments, I didn't read my comments on Medium or my blog for like years because I was afraid to. I read all my YouTube comments because for the most part, other than a couple eyebrow comments, everybody's really nice to me there. That's one of the downsides of having a job that requires me to be online and to make myself available to an audience, is that kind of by nature, I am forced to care about what other people think of me, even though I really don't want to. So that's part 1. Part 2, unpredictability. Remember how I said all that stuff about control and how much I like control and how much I love having control over my own life? But I also have a real issue with the lack of predictability in my life now. I don't know what my paycheck's gonna look like. I don't know how many clients I'll have month to month. I don't know if the algorithm is gonna favor me or if it's going to not favor me. I don't know if a client is gonna go out of business. I don't know if I'll be able to get that invoice paid. There's a lot that's up in the air, and that terrifies me because if you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit of a control freak and I love to know how things are gonna be. That's been a tough little nugget for me to swallow over the past year, is to sort of let that go, understand that I can't control everything, and to exercise control over my little dominion whenever I can. One way I do that, for example, is by doing my daily and weekly to-do lists, so I get to make little lists of things to do. I do that every week, and then I do it every day as well, so like a weekly to-do list and a daily to-do list. Number 3, I have reached a fairly visible, fairly high level of success online. I don't help myself here because I talk about it constantly. I mean, it was part 1 of this video, right?
I make a lot of money.
People like to use that as leverage to kind of guilt me into thinking that I owe them something. So I get countless emails, DMs, messages like, hey, I need your help with this. And it's never a specific question. When I get specific questions, I love answering those. I create whole YouTube videos about those. I love to create really specific, personalized email responses to people who are like, hey, I watched your video, I thought it was great. I just had one question that you didn't address. Can you help me with that? I love helping people that way. What I don't love is when somebody emails me and says, hi, Zuli, I'm trying to make money writing online. I think you should help me. How do I do that? And I'm like, my dude, my entire existence is dedicated to posting content exactly about that. Next, taxes. I believe in taxes. I love to pay taxes. in a hypothetical sense, because I like the idea that a part of my income goes to help the community where I live and the country where I live. I like that. I like that idea. What I don't like is how complex taxes are here in the States. They super suck. They super suck. And I will say this, I deeply respect the IRS. I slightly fear them, as does any good citizen of the United States of America. But it's very hard to pay taxes here. If I ever move back to the UK, not only would I have to pay taxes in the UK, I would also have to submit sufficient documentation to the US to prove that I was paying more taxes in the UK than I would pay if I was in the States. I hire my dad's assistant to help me with most of that.
And a quick, easy, and free way to do taxes as a freelancer. Simply ask your dad's assistant to do them for you for free. It's a bargain.
But I avoid it when I can because I hate taxes now in the practical sense. Hypothetically, still love them. Practical, not so much. Moving on. Number 5, people think that they know me. This is a blessing and a curse, right? I try actively to give as much of myself as I can in these videos. I talk to you, admittedly through a camera lens, but I'm creating these videos for you. I'm writing my blog posts for you. I try to give as much of my personality as I can. I try to share details of my life as much as I can. And that's really nice because I feel like people really get a sense to know me. But the downside of that is when I hop on a meeting and somebody's like, I've watched your videos. I feel like I know you. Like, how's your husband doing? How's your new house? Can I see Astrid? And I'm like, oh, I don't even know your last name. It creates this really weird imbalance that I still haven't worked out how to deal with. It's like I said, I actively try to create that sense that you know me, but also like in a very real way, you don't know me. I have a whole life outside of this that I won't ever share because, that's my whole life and I don't need to put it all on camera. But it is a little strange and it's unusual. I did not think I'd have to deal with that and I do and it's just weird. So that's the good. That's the bad / the ugly. The bad just kind of comes down to being online means that I struggle to maintain boundaries between my real life and my private life, and I struggle when other people point that out, either by leaving me comments or telling me that they feel like they know me, or thinking that I owe them something. And then of course there's taxes. That's pretty much it. Those are the downsides that I've experienced through this quit my job for my blog journey. Honestly, I can't wait to see what comes next. I think every year that comes will be a little bit different. Maybe I'll create an update in a year and let you all know how things are going then. For example, I used to only have 1 hat that I used in my videos, whereas now I have 3 hats that I use in my videos. I like that. I like that change. If you like this video, hit like. If you didn't like it, well, you can hit dislike, but please don't. Leave me a comment. I answer all of my YouTube comments, as I mentioned in this video. And yeah, consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful week and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone. For some weird reason, or is that the, let me just make sure I'm recording, yeah. And that's just one of the bad parts of being online, having my job is to be on, what am I trying to say? More trucks, always trucks. On my street, it's rude, it's disrespectful. Where was I? Please leave truck. Okay. Going up to Gigi Hadid and saying, hey, I noticed you're a model and I'm not a model. What's up with that? Can you hook a sister up? She's never gonna help you. It'd be like going up to your CEO and saying, I noticed that you're CEO while I'm only a middle manager. You need to tell me how to become a CEO. Not that I'm your CEO. It'd be like going up to Usain Bolt and saying, Usain, I notice you are so fast on that track. What's your secret? That's also a terrible example. I think next year is going to be different to this year, and I think the one after that will be different to the one. How much time do I have left here? Oh, wow.